Hello everyone, I'm going to try something new this time. This video is about structs, and so I wanted to do some drawing and maybe give you a little visual. So, structs. And by the way, my name is Zach. I keep forgetting to introduce myself. Okay, so structs. What's a struct? It's short for structure. Let's hope I can spell. And what is a struct? It's essentially something to keep data types together, kind of clustered as one thing. So imagine you have several different data types, like an int, or a string, a bool, or maybe another struct even, and those are related to each other in some way, right? And so you want those things to be together. So you can imagine something like a box. I used to be able to draw years ago. Right, and so you're taking all this stuff and you're putting it, boom, in your box, right? Now you're doing something with your code. This box needs to go over here. You got your box again, right? There we go, and all of your data types are in there. You're doing more work, whatever. You move your box and your data types are all moving together, right? So whenever you need all of them, they're there for you. You can pull out, your int or bool, right? And then maybe this other struct is a small box in and of itself that contains something, right? And that's going in here as well. And so over here, you can pull that out. Boom, your box came out. And that box has whatever data types it had, and you can pull data. So I don't know if this is helpful, a visual, but the idea is it's kind of a structure to keep things together, things that are relevant to go together. So let's jump into the code, and I have some code examples here for you. Here we go. Okay, so what we have in the code here is I've defined a couple of things. I defined an author with a name and an age, and I defined a book. So books, everyone's familiar with them, I hope. They have various things. So we have a title, a number of pages, the language, year published, and an author, right? So to begin with, I'm going to get rid of that author for now. So that we don't, jump ahead of ourselves. But the idea is that a book has an author, and we also have an author defined here. And so this book will get an author at some point when we get there. So how to define a struct? So once you have your struct here, which you have the keyword struct, and then the name, and then you encapsulate things within curly brackets, and you remember your semicolon. That is how that is defined, and members of a struct are by default public, so anything can see them within the struct. So to define your struct, you just do just that. You just give it the type and a name. We just called it book, and the book here is Passport to Magonia, 374 pages, written in English, published in 1969. Okay. And so I defined a little print book and print author piece of code here, and it's just going to print out all of the relevant information for us here. Okay, and again, I'll refresh in case people are curious how I'm doing things. This is bash syntax. We're defining the name of the file, so we're doing a structs demo file. This is my compile step with the variables right there, and then I use the and execute. Little side quest there for you. Okay, So here we are. We printed our book, right? So our book, again, we'll go back and look, has a title. So we see our title printed here. It has a number of pages. We got that. Language and the year published, right? So it makes sense, right? All of those things are relevant. They all go together, right? A book is a book. It has all of these features and more, and so it makes sense for this data to be clustered together. Okay, so let's go to the next step here. We have an author. Okay, an author is also a struct. So a struct can have another struct within it, right? It can be nested, and so this is the same kind of concept. The author, some person who has a name and an age and other features, of course, but for this demo it'll be kind of simple. And so again, we've defined our author, who is the author of this book, Jacques Vallée, 85. Okay, and we have assigned here our author to the book. Okay, so now that we have that, let's go ahead and see that printed. Oh no, what did we miss? I forgot to rehydrate this part of the code. Okay, so let's take a look. And there we go. So we have our book, and then if we look at our code, our book has an author. When we go to print book, we're printing out all of the items of the book. And I'm going to go through the syntax here shortly, but we go through the title, number of pages, language, and then we're saying print author, which also does the same, where we pass the author on there. And so there you have it. So you have these two things that have multiple characteristics that need to stay together, and they stay together within a struct or structure. And that is portable, so that book can then be used in other parts of the code. You can pass it along, and everything stays together nice and tidy. Much more convenient than trying to figure out how to keep, like say, book title, number of pages, all those things in individual variables, and then associate them with the correct, variable. Say you had 10 books. How are you going to do that without something like a structure? It would be difficult, if you can imagine. Okay, so quick looking at the syntax. This is maybe something we haven't seen before. We're using references. So this is a reference to the book, right? So we are passing by reference, and then this is a pointer to that book. So the pointer itself is pointing back in memory to the location where that book is stored in memory, right? So we're passing that pointer, and so the pointer is how the system knows where to look for the items that it's interested in. And so when you're using pointers in references, you have an arrow. You have this arrow syntax, right? So up above here, you can see we're not using a reference. This is the book in the flesh, so to speak. And so we're using dot syntax here. So we're accessing the members of the book by saying dot whatever. So we have a book, and we say book dot title, and that dot then references the title for whatever book we have defined, right? So the same thing is happening here, but the arrow syntax is saying that we're doing this via reference, so, or a pointer. So we're not operating directly on the thing here. We have a reference that we're actually working with, and that's how we're accessing that data, through the reference. This is also same idea, referencing the author here, and you have to specify that, and that's what's passed along this way. If you did not have this, it would not work to pass along from here, because this is a reference. You need to dereference in order to pass along reference to the other thing. So hopefully that wasn't too confusing. Okay, so that's about it. That kind of hopefully introduces the concept of structs, what they are and why it makes sense. You want to keep these things together, right? And so we will touch on classes and objects. That will come in another video. We've touched on it briefly in a previous video, but the main difference that I think of, at least, is that structs basically hold data, and then objects created from classes, they do something usually. So think of this like a book doesn't do much in real life. It's just a thing, right? And it has these attributes, but it's not really doing anything. But say a car, like a car, you do something with it. You drive, right? So there maybe would be a drive functionality, something like that. So that's kind of like the way that I think of things as far as what's the difference between why do I need a struct versus a class, Okay, so that's it. Wrap it up there. Thanks for joining me. Hopefully you got something out of this. Appreciate you stopping by, and see you in the next video.